Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Nice to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. So I've been spending some time in the darkroom, the wet darkroom, and this is the first darkroom that I've had that I would consider is professional grade. It's not the biggest darkroom and it's not a laboratory, but it is definitely a darkroom that I can get something accomplished in, which is really cool. But what's interesting is I made about 2 or 3 test prints. So I've got this negative, right? That's not a negative, that's a print. But I've got a negative that prints like this. And it's a 6x7 negative, okay? And I'm using the Intrepid Enlarger back from one of my Intrepid 4x5s. And the big problem with the, not problem, but the thing to overcome with the Intrepid Enlarger is Intrepid 4x5 conversion is aligning the camera so that it's, you know, everything's aligned so it's sharp. And I got that VersaLab Parallel, which is a laser that sits on your baseboard. Let me put the prints down. Sits on the baseboard and it shoots a laser up, and then there's a piece of glass on your lens stage that you attach to your lens, and the laser comes back down. Well, if your lens is out of alignment, woo, if your lens is out of alignment, okay, the laser like misses, and it you know, it's in 2 axes, which is really cool. So what you do is you just take that laser dot and you put it right back on itself, and then your lens stage is perfectly aligned. Well, same thing with your negative stage. You take your lens out and you put a piece of glass where your negative goes and on your negative carrier, and you align your negative stage. So everything is, so that was like 30 seconds. First time I did it took a minute. Now it takes 30 seconds to align the enlarger, and that's just like, solves that problem. I didn't realize even my Bessler 45 MX was out of alignment, and I had leveled it and all. There's only so much you can do with levels, but when you have a laser shooting back on itself, that's pretty much as close to perfect as you're going to get it, or that you need to get it. So yeah, so that problem was solved. So anyway, back to the prints. So I made a couple of test strips, dialed in my exposure, and then I printed grade 2 for 40 seconds, burned the bottom for 5 seconds, and 45 seconds in the diluted bleach, sepia bleach, and sepia toned it, and there it is. And I liked it. It was okay, but I knew I could do better. So so I made another print, and what I did was I split grade printed it. So this was 13 seconds, 14 seconds on grade 5 for the blacks and the darks, and then 20 seconds for the lights on grade 0. Beautiful print, okay? And then I sepia toned it and selenium toned it, and seriously, I used maybe 4 sheets of paper, including the test strips. And it took me a couple of days, because every time you make a print, you have to wash it, then you have to dry it to see what it looks like. It takes, you know, if you take your time and you could do it faster, but who's in a hurry, right? So I just let them dry overnight, and then I go back in the darkroom. It took 4 days, all right? But that's because I'm letting them dry overnight to look at them, and the next night I come back and print again or whatever. So it took about 5 sheets of paper, let's say, to get to the point where I have a gallery grade print, in my opinion. All right? And great. And I haven't seen anything digitally that looks like this, okay? So, but it took me 6 months to build the darkroom. All right, so, you know, you got to weigh that out too, right? All right, so, and I took my time with that. I could have gotten it done in a couple of weekends, but yeah. So now I know, I mean, that, you know, and this is after seeing Michael Kenna's real prints in the beginning of December. So you know, that's, yeah, okay. That's, I don't know if it's great. I don't know if it's Michael Kenna level, but I will tell you this. This is what I'm looking for, okay, in a print. And I haven't seen that digitally, okay? All right, so I said to myself, well, self, can I do that digitally? And the problem with digital is that, or digital printing, is that there's no such thing as test strips. And the other problem with digital is that, like, with the sepia toning, I can split tone digitally. But and all digital programs, I'm not singling out DxO here. Photoshop is in my opinion worse. But the sliders aren't really. I don't know, how do I put this? The sliders are not really calibrated to what you want to do. In other words, what I'm trying to say is the sepia toning goes. The slider, the intensity goes from 0 to 100. I'm looking for that split tone effect where you're just lightly sepia toning the highlights, okay? And I mean, by lightly, I mean just barely making them a cream color, all right? There is a huge difference. Remember, the slider goes from 1 to 100. There is a huge difference, for my purposes, between 8 and 12, okay? So I had to make prints 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to see where I wanted the highlights to be. So that's 4 sheets of paper. That's $6. The Moab Juno. I mean, I guess I could print it on Epson Luster, but then I wouldn't know what it looks like on the Moab Juniper. I wouldn't know what the final print looks like. I mean, I guess I could have taken a small section from the, I mean, I don't know. All I know is the easiest way is just throw a piece of paper in there and let it rip. So, so basically, yeah, anywhere between 9 and 12, 12 being a little strong. Really, I think I came down on 10. And then for balance, I want the split tone, I want the sepia in the shadows and the darks. And my balance slider went to about 30%, okay? Which I really don't want a balance slider. What I want is to move the sepia toning into the highlights and move the selenium toning down into the shadows and the blacks. So I really don't want a balance. I don't want 70% of the photograph to be selenium, but it's what I got, okay? It would be nice if there were 2 sliders and one put the threshold sliders, let's say, where above 30% I don't want sepia and below 60% I don't want selenium. That would be a better, but anyway, it doesn't matter. This worked, and I got a print that was really close to the darkroom print. One of these, you can't see it anyway on the screen, but anyway, one of these digital prints got really, really close to the point where I think it was a little bit better than the darkroom print. And but more importantly, I learned a lot in terms of how I want to print my black and whites digitally, so that I get that look that I'm looking for in the darkroom, which I tried on another image. So I took a ride up to where the snow's at, right on the edge of the Eagle Cap Wilderness, and I didn't video it. It was cold, it was, you know, snowing and etc. And I was just testing, taking snapshots, whatever. But one of the images leapt out to me on the screen, and I said, okay, let me try that one. And it's so good, I dry mounted it. This has the look I'm looking for, okay? Hope that's in focus. The focus is going after my face. But anyway, you're not gonna be able to tell on you know, this way, but take my word for it. This is absolutely what I'm looking for. All the tones are right and the toning is correct, and it just, yeah. If I did this in the darkroom, I'd be absolutely thrilled with it. And this is a digital print. And the thing is, I mean, and this is the takeaway from all this is that digital printing is much harder than darkroom printing if you know what you're doing in the darkroom. because maybe it's just that I don't know what I'm doing digitally. I don't know, but I'm not sure how you'd ever learn that unless you were a darkroom photographer, particularly in black and white. Color, you know, it's either wrong or it's right. With black and white, man, you're getting it to that, you know, there's acceptable, and then you go up, 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 and then you hit, and it just goes tangential, and the print just glows. And it's got that exquisite black and white look to it. Okay, not all of Michael Kenna's prints had that, but most of them did, and that's if that's all you could hope. That's the best you could hope for. I mean, you know, there's a few prints that I have that do that. Okay, and those are the, you know, but once you dial it in, it gets better and better and easier and easier. Okay, but with black and white, man, you've got to you really got to get it to that nth degree to make it start popping. And digitally, you know, so what was the process that it took me to get to this point with this print was I had to learn how to print digitally by printing what I'm looking for in the darkroom and then dialing in my digital print with 20 sheets of paper through the printer to get, you know, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, print it again, print it again, print it again, to get to the, you know, very subtly, and every little bit, little by little, I'm going, you know, little by little, it's getting closer and closer to the point where I got it, where I want it. And so far, it's translated into a digital capture print. This was a digital file that I was able to use what I learned from the darkroom, from doing that darkroom exercise, and get the results I would be happy with from the darkroom. So digital printing, in my opinion, is much harder than darkroom printing. Or maybe when you consider you have to build a darkroom, and you know, maybe when you consider I have 30 years of 40 years of experience now in the darkroom printing prints, you know, maybe it's not, because I don't have that much experience printing digital prints. I've printed a lot of digital prints, but I've never fine-tuned the black and white like I have in the past month. So I just thought I'd share that with everybody. Maybe somebody would find that interesting. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, we're talking the nth degree here of black and white. All right, if you got to take my word for it. You have to see the print. Okay. Yeah. If that print, I don't know about the composition, I don't know about the subject matter, it doesn't have that blank space look that Michael kind of has. But as far as the printing quality is concerned, if in my opinion, and I'm not bragging here, I'm just saying, if this was hanging on the wall next to all those 30 prints that Michael Kenna had up there, nobody would say, oh, that's not a Michael Kenna. In terms of printing quality, I'm not talking about composition or subject matter or anything like that. I'm talking about the quality of the print. Okay? So, you know, in my opinion. And that's what I've been looking for. And now I can do it digitally. And it opens up a whole other can of worms. I mean, it took a long time, it took a month to get to that point, you know, and I've been trying to get there for years. But all my other digital prints that are hanging on the wall that I've framed, you know, now I have to go back and redo them because I've learned so much, you know, in terms of like just where the sweet spots are digitally, I think. But it's going to take a lot more printing and trying the things that I've learned to see if that's true. But so far, like I can tell the quality of my digital printing has improved. So that was definitely a benefit of setting up a darkroom and printing in the darkroom. Yeah, it gives me something. It gives me that, you know, something to compare to, the look that I'm looking for. All right, another couple of interesting observations is the Ilford multigrade fiber base is not as white as the Moab juniper. The Moab juniper is whiter, and the black ink is blacker than the silver Okay, there's more of a dynamic range on the, I think it's dynamic range, on the digital print, which is interesting. It's also a little sharper because the darkroom print is a second level, like you're shining through the negative and enlarging it, whereas the digital print is direct to digital. Even the scan, like you're 100% on the negative right to the computer. So yeah, for what it is, I mean, don't get me wrong, the darkroom print looks fine. So the digital print's a little bit better, technically. Aesthetically, I don't know. I mean, now that I'm able to dial in my digital prints so that they have that pop and that look that the darkroom gives you, I don't know. You know what I mean? I do know that I'm very pleased with that photograph. So if all the photographs I ever do from now on turn out like that, I'm a happy camper. All right, so Patreon supporters, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Patreon's going guns a-blazing, which is awesome. And the book is selling extremely well. As a matter of fact, I'm getting to the point where I might be selling out here fairly soon, which is amazing. And I need to watch that, because if it keeps selling like this, I'm going to be sold out in a couple of weeks, which is fascinating. And like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you out there. Have a great one. Bye.